Hey, what's up guys and gals, my name is Rick9G. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're going to be talking about I Love Lucy. More specifically about a topic that, let me tell you, so many of you have written me about this since the beginning of my channel. I never thought I would cover it, but here the day has come. I may cover it later extensively or in different ways, but today I'm going to give a general overview of Bill Frawley, Fred Mertz, and his hand tremors. Before I continue, I am giving away an I Love Lucy DVD set with all the episodes from season 1. That's close to 35, actually 30 plus more episodes from this season that you'll enjoy. Vitamin Vegemin, Pioneer Women, that bread episode, so many of them. If you want to know how to win, make sure to watch the video all the way through. I do want to preface this video by saying that I am not a medical doctor or nurse. I'm not in the medical profession, nothing like that. So this diagnosis or this assumption in my mind is not by any means binding or proven or anything like that. I just want to let you know this is more for fun in the sense of diving deep into these shows. And this is my assessment of what I've done looking and understanding the shows, these individuals, these actors over almost half a decade. So let's look at what this means. The alcohol shakes, they're also called tremors. Now, why are these so important? What do people mean when they say this? Well, many people have said, Rick, have you noticed that Fred Mertz, or that is the individual who plays him, William Frawley, shakes. His hand shakes whenever he's acting, and sometimes he puts his hand behind his back. I've noticed that after analyzing a lot of video footage and looking at these episodes more closely in research of this actual video, that he has certain stances that he does. He actually places both of his hands on a couch or on a surface and kind of grips it, and that sometimes stops his tremors. He also puts them behind his back. He also puts them on his hips and he presses down. It seems like any small force he applies to his hands or any force of push, it actually helps him with the tremors. But when he has his hands in the air or just slightly gripping something, you can see a little bit of a shaking. And so it seems that Bill Frawley was aware of these tremors, of these shakes, and so he was kind of trying to hide them from the camera. And we'll talk a little bit, as I mentioned, what they are. Now, when a person has this issue or these symptoms, it's actually attributed to drinking alcohol. And this was something that was very well known, that Bill Frawley was an avid alcohol drinker. Now, what's very interesting is that everyone knew this in Hollywood. And when he was hired by the head honchos at CBS, Desi Arnaz talked with him. Desi Arnaz was Ricky Ricardo, his boss, and he told him, he had a very serious meeting, that his alcohol consumption could in no way interfere with his performances on camera. And let me tell you, this is not me saying this. This is everyone on the cast and crew said he was an utmost professional every time he was on set. He was on set, he delivered his lines, there was never an issue. He had little tidbits here and there. He would rip out parts of the script, which I've talked about before. He would not get along too well with Vivian Vance, but when they said action and he had to say his lines, he was always saying his lines correctly. He always had everything memorized. He wasn't inebriated behind the scenes and they had to struggle or delay production. Never. Not once in the entire production of the series did he have issues. This is regarding to I Love Lucy. But in those years, he also didn't stop drinking, from what we can see of these shakes and these tremors. Now, let me tell you, I will say this in this part of the video, I absolutely love Bill Frawley, William Frawley. He is my favorite on the show. I love Lucy, I love Lucille Ball, but I love Fred Mertz. I love Bill Frawley. So this video is in no way to demean him or anything like that. It's just simply trying to find some answers, diving deep into this. These individuals aren't perfect by any means. I want to get back to the video, but I do want to note this, that people say this sometimes in the comments. You're just saying this to make this actor look bad. No, this is in no way. It's to shed some light on what's going on with these individuals. Now, these tremors are caused by a problem in the areas of the brain that control the body's muscles. Although it's not a life-threatening symptom, it can be embarrassing or even disable an individual, making it difficult for them to perform everyday functions. Now, this happens with chronic or long-term drinking abuse, and then someone stops it. And this made sense because he was asked not to do this. Maybe he would have to perform the next day and he would have a little bit to drink, but then after that, the next day, he wouldn't. This is all in terms of speculating, but it's also we're seeing the symptoms of what is happening. And so it seems that there is a cause and effect. The tremors aren't voluntary. He could not really stop them. He could probably lessen them or mask or disguise them, which is what he did in many of the episodes. Sometimes there was more shaking, sometimes there was less. It was all dependent on his body. It also has to do with the amount that was consumed and so forth. I could get into a lot of it, but basically there's essentially no cure. There's some things now where they can essentially stimulate the brain and so forth. But being that this was occurring during the 1950s, he had a job to do. He did it to the best of his ability. He made all of us laugh, and I think that's what's important. Before I finish, I do want to leave with a couple views of him actually shaking in different episodes that you can see. Now, this is just some. This happens in almost every single episode of I Love Lucy if you really look. In my mind, to be honest with you, it doesn't bother me. It's just part of the character. It's always been there. It's actually similar to Desi Arnaz and how he mouths a lot of the lines of the other individuals. Now, that's not really a tremor. I never found out what he's actually doing, but that is something that he actually does if you do look closely. Take a look at Desi Arnaz. He does mouth the lines of other characters, as I know. But then going back to Bill Frawley, this is from an episode Ricky loses his voice, and I'll show you, I'll zoom in so you can see his hands doing a little bit of a shake. Now, in this episode, Lucy becomes a sculptress. He is posing for Lucy, and you could see him with a pie plate. Now, some people say it could be like muscle contractions or holding that position is hard, so it'll lend you to shake, but that is one arm is shaking or the other one isn't. It seems like it's mostly his right hand that is doing that. It doesn't seem like his left hand is the issue at all. It is his right. And like I mentioned, he does hide it, or sometimes it just has to be in plain sight and we can see it. In Never Do Business with Friends or in the kitchen, we do see a little bit of it there. And later on in Don Juan is Shelved, you can see it in the episode. So these are just some little examples, because someone could say, oh, this happened because of this, and this one he was acting. But no, if you put it all together, these are just a few examples. And if you continue to watch the show, you can see it's absolutely there. As I mentioned, guys and gals, this is just a way to highlight something that was happening. It's a reality people noticed, and I wanted to kind of give answers to what was going on. I know a lot of you want to know how to win this DVD. Don't worry if you have not won in the past. You have another opportunity right now. What you have to do is be a subscriber to the channel. Hit that red subscribe button if you've never done it. You only have to do it once in your lifetime in regards to the channel. Once you do it once, then you're closer, you're on your way to winning that DVD. Hit the like button, which is also the thumbs up button, to let me know that you enjoyed this video. And lastly, leave a comment down below. Make sure your comment contains the words Fred Mertz. It must have Fred Mertz in there. And lastly, there's a link in the description below to fill out just simple contact information. So when I pick the winner, I can contact you directly and let you know that you've won. That's it. That's all you guys and gals have to do. Thank you so much for supporting me. We'll see you next time. And don't forget, no matter what, how difficult it gets, you always have to remember to be hopeful. Thank you so much to all my supporters on Patreon, especially my Diamond tier patrons: Tommy G, Citizen Kane 359, Grace U, Sally N, David D, and Ricky. You can find exclusive content on Patreon at different tiers. Go ahead and check it out, and thank you so much.